Good morning, guys. I hope you're all well. I sorry not to do this live. I am in a hotel and the Wi-Fi is a little bit tricky, so I didn't want to risk it. So I'm doing this as a recording. I'm going to try and get it to you super fast. There's a couple of things I see going on here, which I was talking to the community about last night, and that was in particular on Bitcoin, the 4-hour time frame. If we zoom out on that, and also apologies because I'm working off my laptop, which is a little bit slow, but we can see very clearly on the 4-hour time frame that the model is playing out here. So we have the information with our first drop, second drop, third drop, and this is where we sit now. Now, the problem with the formation being on a higher time frame, which is not a problem, but it's just something to be aware of, is that the levels in between, if we do go into a board meeting, they can take a long time to consolidate. So to give you an example, if we have a look at this board meeting right here, this one took 2 days and 12 hours before it broke down. And this one here took 20 hours before it broke down. So being at level 3, we may consolidate here for a while, because if the model is playing out on a higher time frame, then at level 3 is where the market maker is building up their contracts, and it will usually happen for an extended period of time because they are building large contracts. So then we have to ask ourselves logically, what could that be for? And as we know, we have a lot of news events coming up this week, in particular the CPI, which is a big one. And we also have the PPI, that's tonight. I've kept these, I'm in a different time zone, but I've kept these in Melbourne time zone for some consistency. And so Wednesday, 11:30, that's tonight, we have one news event. And then tomorrow night around the same time, we have the bigger news event. So it could be either of these two events that cause a pretty sharp movement in the market. And it could be that what's happening right now is the market maker is keeping us contained at this level whilst they build contracts. Because the one thing that doesn't quite make sense to me right now is that why would we hold right here on the 4-hour time frame when we don't have any previous vectors around here for the market maker to recover, which means that they're not trying to recover a vector on the 4-hour. We have to find where they actually are trying to do that at this point in time. So, oh, there we go. If we scroll down to the 2-hour, we can kind of see this one right here. And we've wicked into that once, twice, and that's where we are now. Okay, so that makes sense. I didn't actually even look at this time zone at all, but time frame, but this is the one I would say to watch. So that means then that we don't really want to break below 18,560. If we go below that, it's not going to be good. But if we accumulate here and hang around this area, between this area of interest and these EMAs up until one of those news events, then that's where we're going to look for the next decision, whether that news comes out and is bad and we see the final breakdown of Bitcoin, or it comes out and we react well and we go, this is where our first side of the W formation is actually beginning to form. We potentially may get the second at the news event, but you can't predict ahead of time which way that's going to go. Like, according to the model, should go to the upside. However, it could also be a complete reset. And, if the news comes out terrible, we're breaking further down to the downside. So I would definitely say be prepared for anything. One thing you can do if you practice good risk management, you know that we are in this period here. And so what you want to start asking yourself is, who is the market maker trying to trap in this consolidation? You're probably going to need a bit more time than what we have so far. But one thing that I like to do when we're in that consolidation is mark out a box like this with going to mostly the candle close highs and the candle close lows. And then I'm assessing which side the wicks are mostly showing at, because the wicks show me who's being trapped. And so it's fairly even right now. We've got this big red wick here that was, that would have triggered breakout trader long positions. So breakout traders are stuck in a long at the moment. But then we do have these few wicks down here, which, has triggered obviously breakout short traders positions and trapped people into shorts. So if we do consolidate, maybe for the entire day today would be ideal. But if we did do that, we want to be looking for a few more of those wicks to form and hopefully give us a bit of a definitive answer as to who they're trying to trap before they make the big move. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see what's going on there. Now, this is going to be the same for all crypto. So I won't cover ETH just because I'm trying to do this really fast and get it out to you guys. But the story and the process is going to be exactly the same. Let me just quickly go over. Yeah, so with ETH, it's going to be exactly the same. We can see here, we're in the same level. Does look a little bit better because price has not come back to these wicks at all. But just, yeah, keep that in mind. We want to move out of this zone and get above the 50 EMA for ETH, and well, for both really. We want to get above that 50 EMA, but it may happen with a sharp move. We did have this fake move attempt yesterday, which was a little bit tricky, and then it just came right back down. So the fact that, especially if you have a look at that little fake move on the 15-minute, it's very obvious how we're being fooled right now. So if we zoom into this, which is why I think you should really be looking at the higher time frames right now, because less chance of getting tricked. If we have a look at this, we can see here, after we had hit these lows, we had started to move up. This here was when I went live to the community last night. And by the way, if you are interested in joining the Discord, the link is in the description down below. We do set all other session opens in the Discord. So this one was around the UK session that I was covering with the community. And what I had said to them here was it here? It was Asia Open. No, it was here. What I had said to them was, this had the potential to start looking like a first side W formation. However, I didn't like how price was just creeping here. And at the time, we hadn't fully recovered this vector candle, with mostly, but not fully. And what I wanted to see was price come back and break through that 50 EMA with power. Then I would think that we were, this move to the downside was over. But we needed that break and that retest of the 50 EMA with power. When we got this blue one here, I then updated them in Discord and said, I don't like the fact that it was blue. So what I really would have wanted here is a nice big green candle that broke the 50 EMA. That would have given me more hope that we were going to the upside. In the end, we came back and we broke through. That part there was looking good, but we needed to wait for the retest. And this here is the perfect example of why you wait for the retest, because it completely failed. That shows us that on a lower time frame, they are definitely inducing some pain, causing some pain whilst they collect contracts. As we had this fake spike to the upside, we had this fake spike to the downside, and then we just ended up back in the same range. Now, is this the W formation here? Potentially, but because of the games that they were playing yesterday, I just wouldn't trust this range at all. So I think it's better to trade it on the 1 hour time frame right now. Wait till we get out of this range, break above these EMAs, then we're going to have a better chance if there is going to move to the upside from here. The other thing is, if all of this just consolidates for the whole day up until the CPI, the other news event, then there could be further rejection off the higher time frame EMAs. So keep that in mind as well. I definitely wouldn't be bullish or bearish right now. Excuse me, my cough. I'm trying so hard to hold it back. But I definitely wouldn't be bullish or bearish right now. Just trade what you see. If we're under the EMAs, we're still technically bearish until we get a very clean W formation that shows us it's likely that we're going to break through. So stay away from the 15-minute, in my opinion. Stick to the 1 hour. It's definitely much cleaner, and we can see the gains that are going on. And it's really quite simple. A break above the 1 hour 50 EMA and a retest, we're good for the upside. A move up and a rejection under the 50 EMA, we're still in a downtrend. Do you want to short from there? Is up to you. Probably not the best risk to reward, because the first target is going to be the initial low of the week, which is at 18.8. They might pick the direction right, but who cares if it's not a great trade. Now, looking at the Dixie, this was the other issue yesterday. We really, really wanted to see if we were going to reject this very key level. It did look like we had a good start with a bearish candlestick formation, but what I really wanted was to see the follow through from this start to break down in the EMAs. And obviously what we got was just a false move down and, obviously designed to hurt some people. And now we're right back up there again today. So eyes on Dixie. If keeps continuing to move to the upside, then everything else is going to continue to either consolidate or move to the downside. And the midweek reversal is probably going to come in on one of those news events. All right, let's take a look at their heat maps. And what's going on here is it adds to my conclusion that they are definitely collecting massive contracts in this zone and keeping price in a tight area for a reason. All day yesterday, we could see fairly large orders above price at around 19,000 to 19,100. And we still have those large orders at 19,100. And below price, we have them at 18,850 and 18,800. So that's a fairly tight range that they're keeping price in between. And we have this open interest increasing. So if you ask me, I think a big move is coming, potentially a big move that looks like the last CPI. If you go back and back test that on your chart, you'll have a look at what's happening. And it may be a day of potentially nothingness, or the news event tonight may be used as a trigger to issue stop hunts if a lot of people have committed trades. So my opinion is be very, very careful today. There's definitely something building up for a big move, and it's potentially being built up for the CPI. So that's all I have for you. I'm going to leave you there so that I can get this out to you. Have the most amazing day, and I will try to figure out if I can get this live going forward tomorrow.